Good day, everyone. This is Brian. I know I said I was going to do this Monday or Tuesday, but I figured I can at least throw out the setup that I'm using and explain my little chart setup, and then we can go more in depth next week. I figure since the thread kind of went to shit a little bit, maybe this will hopefully help to bring a few people back, or at least give some information about how I do it. I normally don't post on the threads because I use a mix of another system and Itchy, but as summer trading's ending, I more and more I have an Itchy chart and my system up. I'm not going to mention anything about anything else. Just I am going to show my Itchy setups and a little bit of how I do it each morning. Since we did have, I normally trade off a 5-minute chart. Let's throw that out there. Let's take a look. This is my setup, 5-minute chart. I prefer to be zoomed in a little bit when I'm going to actually take a trade. This is my normal screen right here. So this is what I'm normally looking at. I'll show you a few things on my chart, explain what they are, and then we'll get into how I do my morning setup. The support and resist indicator y'all see right there, that I think a majority of y'all that are on this thread are using it. The one thing I do throw on my charts is Murray math lines, or math Murray lines, whatever. Murray math lines, yeah, that's the correct way. That's where you see the pivot reversal major, and a couple other things. Let me see if I can squeeze it in. It says weak stall and resistance, major support and resistance. The reason I like Murray math lines is because it's based off of it divides the chart up into 8 parts, so 8 sections. Unlike pivots or other things, when the Murray math lines are blown through like all 8 levels, if you have news and it blows through all 8 levels, they redraw on your chart. Where with pivots, things like that, if it blows through the pivot levels, they're kind of useless for the day. So if your S1, S2, and S3 on a pivot are blown through, they become useless. So I do prefer Murray math lines. I know y'all are using round numbers. Round numbers I do take into consideration, but I just look for them on the chart. The indicator, drawing them on there, kind of gets on my nerves. So that kind of explains what I'm using. The other thing you'll see on here are these big pink, I don't know what color they'll show up on your chart, but on mine they're pink. Pink lines, these are based off of blah blah, Syncospan, I think. Chico, whatever, Casper, whatever I call it. Sorry, I'm half awake today. Okay, so I draw those on my chart manually just to give me a little bit more of a support and resistance idea. Trying to think if I'm going to miss anything else before we get going. I do use default settings on my charts, so that means, let's get into it, indicator list, colors, 92652, and I do use all portions of Itchy. I don't use a mishmash of it, and again, the pink lines are Chicospan. Sorry, I zoned out there for a minute. Okay, so let's get to work how I do my charts in the morning first, and I'm going to show you on a 15-minute chart like I mentioned, since NFP kind of tossed markets for a bounce. It'll be a little bit cleaner and clearer for you to understand. I'm going to, first thing I'm going to do, and I'll explain on my charts real quick once we're done with it. Actually, let me go through the indicators first so you can see what I do. Okay, so I have ZB cloud lines. Reason, I don't know, I like the way that it draws Itchy on my chart more. It gives this nice little, let me move this out of the way. It gives a nice little yellow border on Itchy. I kind of double up on indicators though. I'll explain what that means in a second. I just like the way that it draws Itchy on the screen better. For me, it's visually, if I have to stare at it all day, I want to like the way it looks. TLB OCV2, that is the support and resist lines. Candle closing time down here at the bottom left, that's the time till the candle closes. Murray math, just explain those. That's this pivot point right here. Daily open line, that's up here at the top. BO price, that is up here at the top right. BO price is the ask plus the bid divided by 2. I use that to match up to my broker to make sure that this should match better than it should match better than your standard MT4 price, because it's ask plus bid times 2. If you want to see why I use that, let's take a look at AUD NZD. Let me remove a bunch of crap off here so we can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so BO price comes from, and let me put it on here real quick. White line down here is following price, exactly. So if we go into properties and we go to the common tab, go to show ask line. This is what you'd refer to as the spread. If we notice, this line and this line don't match up, and sometimes this red line moves and the white line doesn't. That's why your broker prices sometimes don't match, because the spread is changing but price isn't moving, so the price will fluctuate, but on your chart it doesn't. This BO price takes this line plus this line, divides it by 2, and gives us a price somewhere in the middle, like here. So see if you could notice the red line's moving, but price wasn't. So that's why price would fluctuate. So the pink line that I'm holding in place here is actually about where that BO price is. So that's what it's giving you. It matches up with the market, with your binary options broker better. I definitely prefer to use it, because if the broker is not matching up to what I see on my screen, then I know something's up and I want to stay out of a trade. Okay, so let's see, back to the indicator list, and we'll finish up, and then we'll get to go on what I do. Ichimoku, MTF alert, NMC, that's somewhere in, I think, the first 10 pages of this thread. I like it because it gives you the alerts that I like. The biggest alert that I use when I'm trading bins is the alert on price on Kinjin cross, which means price has breached Kinjin up or down. Doesn't matter which way, I get an alert on it. For binary options, that's the biggest one that I focus in on, and we're going to be focusing on binary options today, so I guess that is good. Okay, so here's the 15-minute chart, and what I'm going to do. The other thing I mentioned, I double up on it. I use this indicator for alerts only. In my settings, I have it set false to draw nothing, because I like the way the ZB Cloud Lines draws better. Again, that's just my personal preference. You don't got to do it. So, do what you want, make it happy. Before we get going into how I do things and my setup, let me just say, everyone's setup is what you're comfortable with. My setup may not work for you. Your setup may not work for me. You set up your charts so that you're comfortable with them in your way of trading. You don't want to use something that fights against something you don't understand. If you don't understand Murray math lines, whatever, I'm out of it. If you don't understand them, don't use them. Do some research. If it's something you like, do it. If you like the round numbers, which a lot of you are using, use those. Everyone's setup for their chart is going to be different, and there is not one standard setup that's going to work for everybody. Everybody sees the charts different. They perceive what's happening on the charts different. All you need to do is have your chart set up where you feel comfortable with it, where you understand it, and you can comprehend what's going on your chart and react to it quickly so that you can get into your trade with a good entry. I mean, that's basically it. So all I'm showing here today is how I like to trade and my setup. I am not saying it's the right way or the wrong way. Again, everybody's going to trade different. You do what's comfortable to you. This is your money you're playing with, not my money or someone else's money. Okay, so enough babbling about that. Let's go into indicator list. I'm going to do something just to show a point. The first thing I do each day with my charts... crap, I deleted the one thing I didn't want to, but we'll fix that. We'll use this one. Okay, so I'm going to do draw Chico only. So the only thing I'm going to have on my charts is Chico span. First thing I do with each day, now I do have all my other indicators up here when I do it, and let's go to this because I want you all to see. Let's see, we're going to do bar up black, bar down black, bull candle will be black. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make the candles disappear off the chart. I don't want to be able to see them. Now all we have on the chart right now is Chico span. This is simplifying it so you can see what I do each day. Again, not right, not wrong, but this is what helps me. I'm going to draw some support and resist lines. And I do this every top of the hour. I'll go through and review these and make sure they still pertain. Sometimes these will line up exactly with other support and resist lines. But once I draw them, we'll bring everything back on the chart. What I'm looking for is peaks and valleys that line up. I am not going exact. Get it close. If you have a peak and a valley, draw it in the middle. This doesn't have to be exact. Orders that are sitting out in the market, let's say you have, for instance, your daily open, and people like to set orders on that. They might not set it exactly there. They might set it below. They might set it up. They might set it down. I think of these lines, support and resists, pivots, whatever you use, they're more like magnets. All they are is their visual representation of where an order may be sitting on the chart. It's up to you to learn a little price action and watch when price approaches these potential levels where orders might be sitting to see how price reacts when they get close to them. So that's something that comes with time too. Ichi is a technical trading system. So, I mean, you don't have to get price action overall. It's something that by sharing your charts on the forums can help to develop your skills faster and getting advice from some of the senior traders that are out here. Okay, so there I am. That's my daily setup. Now, normally I do this with all the indicators on the chart, but they're not there, so oh well. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring the candles back first, and we'll take a look at what I drew and how it compares to where the candles are sitting. So I'm going to do a white background on these. Just a few words on it. When I'm using Ichi, I prefer to have a white background around my candles because it highlights the wicks for me. I'm not too big on trading wicks. I like to use the actual candle itself, open and close, and I kind of ignore the wicks, but I still like to see them. And using a white background for me lets the wicks pop out against the Ichi background. Okay, so we have bull candle. That would be a lovely lime, and the bear candle will just be a red. So if we bring the candles back onto the chart and we look at what I drew. Now remember, some of these are 26 back, so of course they're going to line up. But we want to look at right here, really good support and resistance line here. This one, not so, but it's still holding a lot of support. We have price approaching it right now. As I'm babbling for you, we can watch what happens with that and see if it respects it or not. Let's bring back the rest of Ichi then. But what I wanted to show you is these lines do hold very well. Sometimes that support and resist indicator that is automatically drawing the M5, the M15, 30, and so on won't catch these points. Chico span is a very simple way to draw support and resist and get it on your chart. I love doing it. I use it across the board on all my charts. I find that these levels are respected very well. It's an additional little step, but it's definitely worth it because sometimes you'll miss a support and resist that you think isn't out there. Other than that, that's it. Let's go ahead and bring up God damn. Let's bring up Ichi, the full thing again. This isn't going to be my setup, but oh well. Draw everything. So let's put it all back. Again, guys, I'm just going over my setup today. I'm not going to go over any trades or anything, and I'll show you. I'll probably just load up my template next. But there's the whole picture, what we'd get with nothing on it. Let's throw on a couple indicators, and then I'll load up my template since we already know what I did. And I'll go over the last few things of what I have in my setup, just basically colors. I think I already mentioned it, though, so we might not have to do that. So TLB. Okay, TLB, OC, VO2. When I throw it on, show M1, I don't use. M5, I am on the rocks on that one. I kind of like it, kind of don't. So I'll leave it on there for now just so we can see. As we can see right here, I'm a confluence trader. Sorry. This area right here for me would be of great interest when I'm trading for reversals, but it's not pertaining to what we're doing, so I guess I should shut up. As you can see, a lot of these lines that I drew, H1 support, if you look, without even knowing what's on the chart, H1 support and this line up perfect. M30 support there. If you look up here, the line that I drew here has a whole shit ton of stuff around it. So we know that this is a strong support and resist area. I just wanted to show you that with nothing on the chart but drawing these lines, it will highlight some excellent support and resist areas. So it is worth taking the time to just draw them on there manually in the morning. I do it at the top of each hour. I go through, check them, see if there's anywhere I should add or remove so my charts don't get too cluttered. It really is worth the extra effort, though, in my opinion. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. No big deal. Next thing I use, and I'll post up a link to all the indicators when I'm done, if I could get this stupid thing to scroll. The other one that I use, there we go. Other one I use is Murray, where the hell are you? Murray Math right here. Only thing you need to do is change this to 626 for the 5-minute chart. Step back 0. This is if you want to use my setup. Again, guys, if you're doing something and it's working for you, ignore my setup. Use yours. I'm just showing what I use. So that throws the Murray math lines on there. If you notice, they kind of line up with some of my support and resist. They also line up with some of the H1s and things like that. I'm a confluence trader. I like to see confluence, especially when it lines up with how y'all are trading. Let's see, what else was there? Totally forgot. The BO price, right here, BO price. Font size is default 15. I changed it up to 25 because I'm a blind bastard. Throw that on there, puts it up there. And the last one is the candle close. Don't remember the name, so let me look at it real quick. Daily open, candle closing time. So let's grab that one real quick. Candle closing time. Pop to this chart. And let's see, by default, I think everything's default on that. Let's see. And it is, bottom left. You throw that wherever you want. I think it has an adjustment field on it. That's my setup, guys. Just wanted to run through it. Tuesday, go a little more in depth, I guess. But, I mean, from what I see on the thread, for the people that are using it currently, y'all are doing really well. So, I think if anything, when I show how I trade it, or my actual trading of it, it'd be maybe for new people that jump on the thread. But that's my setup. I'll post up the indies for you. Comments, questions, whatever, hit me up. I'm always around. That's the Superman line. Yes, I'm a dork. Alright, guys, have a good day, and have a good weekend.